Hey everyone, this is Josh. There's just a couple things that I wanted to say and get off my chest because it was bothering me a little bit. But anywho, lately, if you haven't seen already, I've been making just kind of cloth masks and stuff um, for people to wear within my community. Some who are like, let's say they have COPD, some kind of respiratory um, illnesses, ailments, people with lower um, immune systems, like with some type of immune deficiency, so on and so forth, or just plain, elders, tribal elders within our community that were needing some type of alternative than actually going out and purchasing um, the PPE masks that CDC and World Health Organization has encouraging people to use, but those are one-time use. As we know, tribal communities face a multitude of problems, including those that live below the poverty line. And it's a real disservice whenever someone is trying to do some good, trying to spread some joy, and trying to spread some positivity just in general in this kind of world that we live in now of self isolation, quarantine, and healthy practices in distancing ourselves through social distancing, so on and so forth. So, when someone makes any kind of comments regarding, um, well, it should be this way, or it should be made by this, it should have this on it, it should, keep those type of comments to yourself. Um, I took offense to it, and I'm not really apologizing for getting offended by it because I look at it this way. If a cloth mask that's four layered has the ability to kind of lower your exposure risk to the coronavirus, COVID 19, even if it's by 50%. Some say up to 74% if you're using healthy practices, disinfecting them properly with antibacterial detergents and other things like that. I'm sorry, with soaps, not detergents, because you don't want to use anything with kind of dyes, unnatural dyes, or any type of characterizations of, like, let's say, lotions and other things like that. You don't want that because it kind of attracts bacteria and different things and microbes within the mask itself. So you want to make sure that you are cleaning them properly. You want to make sure that you are steaming them or finding some way to disinfect and sanitize them for after your use. And just a reminder, when someone like myself, I heard one of my friends was talking about how a particular hospital was needing cloth masks because some of the healthcare professionals were having a shortage on PPE masks, and they were getting cloth masks for those healthcare professionals that, let's say, don't have more direct uh, patient to healthcare provider contact. And so those individuals were using health masks while others with in the more highly concentrated areas and ICU units and other areas of the hospital with direct contact are using more of the PPE because of the shortages and pitfalls of medical supplies. So I would thought, well, I'll do what I can. I'll just see how many I can make and stuff. So I kind of got in my dance bag and I was looking at different fabrics and stuff because they CDC and different ones were saying, like, if you're going to make them out of cotton. Don't make them out of any kind of porous materials or synthetic materials. That way, people can actually breathe through them, and people can actually go and make them in a relatively low cost, effective way. So that's what I did. And within a day and a half or so, because I am an insomniac, I made 100. And one of my good friends, Jacob, he picked up two batches of 50 and he sent them off for me, which is great service to those particular professionals that are in need of them. And so I had some extra fabrics and whatnot. So I decided to make some more. And I was like, well, I'll use them and distribute them as much as I can. And it keeps me going because um, I am not one that's encouraging people to go out unless it's absolutely necessary. And I have a lower immune system as well. So please use your masks and do them properly, cleaning by cleaning them and whatnot, and do what you can. I mean, there's so much negative in this world, especially with self isolation, quarantine. You know, you do get cabin fever. You do become um, almost anxiety ridden because there's so much negative that is flourishing on social media, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, whatever, Zoom, you want to call it. But whatever the case is, do what you can. Just think in Native American communities, we are impoverished in a lot of ways. We are disenfranchised in a lot of ways. And by producing these cloth masks and whatnot, you're helping your tribal community kind of lower their exposure risk. Especially recently, Anadarko, in the southwest corner of Oklahoma, it has hit home for us because we have our first positive cases within our local area. Um, and with that, there will be many, many more to come to light. And it's just during this time of isolation, do what you can. Even all those powwow people out there that make their regalia, every powwow you go to, they've made 2 and 3 dresses, brand new dresses. They might have new aprons every time they hit grand entry. Um, if every one of us actually made 10 to 15 masks and distributed them, whether it be to our families, a tribal elder, or a tribal employee that's working directly with their tribal people, I mean, it would help in lowering our exposure risk overall. Because one life lost to this COVID 19 virus is one life too many, especially with our native people, because there's so few of us left versus way back when there were millions upon millions within our different areas from where we derive from. So do what you can to spread some joy. Kind of keep those comments to yourself, like I said, because I, for one, am doing what I can to spread some love, spread some joy during this particular time. And because there's too much negative in this world, just think about all those ones that have passed away recently to the virus, all the healthcare professionals that are being diagnosed with the virus. And especially those within our own tribal communities. We really need to be more proactive in ensuring that we are doing what we can to promote good well-being overall. So, with that said, any kind of negative comments and stuff, or whether those comments you seem negative or not, they may come off offensive, whether you know it or not. So just be safe. Um, Try to do what you can within your own community in making masks and doing other things to um, help spread some more awareness, especially during this time when there's so much turbulent issues with the virus going on. And stay safe and please wash your hands. Goodbye.